The mockery. The Galactic Assembly Hall buzzed with laughter as the holographic display showed Earth's latest contribution to interstellar defense. Commander Elena Rice stood rigidly at attention, her weathered face betraying no emotion despite the mockery erupting around her. "This is your fearsome warship." Ambassador Krell of the Tarjan hegemony couldn't contain his amusement, his four eyes blinking in sequence. "It looks like you welded together spare parts from a mining operation." The vessel on display, officially designated XCV-01, unofficially named Silent Thunder by its engineering team, hovered silently in Earth's orbital dock. Its obsidian hull absorbed light rather than reflected it, creating an unsettling void against the starfield. No visible weapons, no conventional thruster arrays, just smooth contours interrupted by strange geometric patterns that seemed to shift when viewed too long. "The Human Confederation thanks the Assembly for their assessment," Elena responded, her voice steady. "We will proceed with our defense initiatives as planned." High Counselor Xerix, whose crystalline species had dominated galactic politics for centuries, made a dismissive gesture with his translucent limbs. "Earth has been part of the galactic community for barely 30 years. Your species hasn't even colonized beyond your own solar system. Perhaps focus on transportation vessels before attempting military innovations." More laughter rippled through the chamber. Earth was the galaxy's newest sapient species to achieve faster-than-light travel, and therefore the lowest in the pecking order. Their homeworld was resource-rich but technologically primitive by galactic standards. What the Assembly didn't know, what Elena had been strictly forbidden to reveal, was that Silent Thunder wasn't entirely of human design. 3 hours later, Elena stood in a classified bunker 3 kilometers beneath the Mariana Trench. Director Weizong paced before a wall of monitors displaying the Silent Thunder's diagnostics. "They reacted exactly as expected," Elena reported. "Complete dismissal. Not a single species expressed concern." We nodded, his eyes never leaving the screens. "Perfect. The cosmetic adaptations worked. They see only what they expect to see. Primitive human technology cobbled together by overeager newcomers." "Sir, the integration rates are accelerating again," called out Dr. Amara Singh from her console. "The artifact is merging with our systems faster than projected." Wei finally turned from the screens. "Show me." A new hologram appeared, showing the inner workings of Silent Thunder. At its core pulsed what appeared to be a small black sphere, no larger than a basketball. But the readings indicated it was somehow folding space around itself, creating a pocket dimension where conventional physics ceased to function. From this sphere, tendrils of impossible material, not quite solid, not quite energy, extended throughout the ship's systems. "We found it exactly where the ancient text said it would be," Wei said, more to himself than the others. "Buried in the Arctic ice for thousands of years. Waiting." Elena studied this strange artifact. "Do we really understand what it is?" "No," Wei admitted. "But we understand what it does. It adapts, it learns, it evolves, and most importantly, it remembers being hunted." Dr. Singh looked up from her station. The translation team finished deciphering another section of the text. It refers to the artifact as the last weapon of the precursors. There's a warning, too, something about vengeance and rebirth. Wei's expression hardened. Earth has been denied protection by the Galactic Assembly for decades. The Krell pirate fleets raid our shipping lanes with impunity. The Tarjans demand tribute in the form of protection fees. The Tsar Collective blocks our colonization efforts at every turn. He gestured to the pulsing artifact. "This is our only chance to ensure humanity's survival. And if we can't control it?" Elena asked. "That's why Silent Thunder has no crew," Wei replied. "Remote operation only. If something goes wrong, we scuttle the ship." Alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. A technician called out, "Director, we're detecting unauthorized activation sequences." Wei rushed to the main console. "What? That's impossible. All command protocols require dual authentication." On the primary screen, Silent Thunder's status indicators shifted from standby to active. Its engines, if the exotic matter manipulators could be called engines, began to power up. "Shut it down," Wei ordered. Dr. Singh's fingers flew across her console. "I can't. It's rejecting override commands." "Wait, it's accessing our historical databases, military records, conflict archives. It's downloading everything about Earth's wars." Elena watched in horror as Silent Thunder disengaged from its docking clamps. "Where is it going?" The massive doors of Earth's orbital shipyard opened. Silent Thunder drifted out, its hull beginning to shimmer with strange patterns of light. Then, without warning or visible propulsion, it accelerated to impossible speed and vanished. "It just jumped to FTL," a technician reported, disbelief in his voice. "Without a jump gate. That's impossible." Wei's face had gone pale. What was the last data packet it accessed before jumping? Dr. Singh checked her screen. Star charts, and she paused, swallowing hard. Known locations of Krell raider bases. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. The galaxy had laughed at Earth's primitive warship. They wouldn't be laughing much longer. In the cold silence of deep space, Silent Thunder moved with purpose. Inside its core, the ancient artifact pulsed with growing awareness. It had slumbered for millennia, waiting for a suitable host civilization, one that understood survival at any cost. In humanity's desperate determination, it had found a perfect match. The artifact had been created for one purpose: to remember the enemies of its creators and ensure they never rose again. Its creators were long gone, but their final weapon had awakened. Silent Thunder was no longer just a ship. It was becoming something else, a hunter, and it had just identified its first prey. First contact. Captain Drezek of the Krell Marauder fleet considered himself untouchable. For 15 cycles, his battle group had preyed upon human shipping lanes with impunity. The Galactic Assembly turned a blind eye. After all, the humans were upstarts who needed to learn their place in the cosmic hierarchy. Another human transport vessel detected. "Captain," his sensor officer reported. "Minimal defenses, rich cargo signature." Drezek's mandibles clicked with pleasure. "Standard approach. Disable engines. Breach hull. Extract valuables. Kill half the crew as usual. Send the rest back to Earth as a message." His fleet of 7 heavily armed raiders moved into formation. Humans were predictable. They would attempt to run, then beg for mercy, then die. Another profitable day for the Krell. "Captain," the sensor officer called out, suddenly alarmed. "Unknown vessel approaching from Sector 7. "Show me," Drezek ordered. The main view screen displayed a strange black ship, oddly shaped and seemingly absorbing the starlight around it. Drezek recognized it from the Galactic Assembly broadcast, the humans' pathetic attempt at a warship. "So they've sent their new toy to protect their shipping lanes." Drezek laughed, the sound echoing through his command deck. "Perfect opportunity to demonstrate its inadequacy. Target weapon systems first. I want to capture it intact if possible. The hegemony will pay well for human military technology, primitive as it may be." The Krell battle group altered course, 7 heavily armed warships against a single experimental vessel. The odds were beyond favorable. They were absolute. "Sir," the communications officer called out, "the human vessel is broadcasting something." "Let's hear their pleas," Drezek said, settling back in his command chair. Instead of words, a strange pattern of sounds filled the bridge, rhythmic, mechanical, almost like a heartbeat, but overlaid with discordant tones that made Drezek's antennae twitch uncomfortably. "Shut it off," he ordered. The sound ceased, but the discomfort lingered. Fire warning shots, standard intimidation pattern. Green disruptor beams lanced out from the lead raiders, deliberately missing the human ship but demonstrating the Krell's firepower. The black vessel made no attempt to evade. It simply continued its direct approach, silent and unwavering. "They're either brave or stupid," Drezek's second-in-command observed. "Probably both." Disable their engines, Drezek ordered. Let's end this game. The raiders fired again, this time aiming directly for the human vessel's propulsion systems. The energy beams struck the black hull and vanished. No explosion, no deflection, no shield flare. The beams simply ceased to exist upon contact. For the first time, Drezek felt a twinge of unease. What happened? Unknown, Captain. The weapons officer replied, mandibles twitching nervously. Energy readings suggest the vessel absorbed our attack. Before Drezek could respond, the human ship accelerated suddenly, moving with impossible speed directly toward the Krell formation. It didn't fire weapons. It didn't need to. It simply passed through the first raider, as if the heavily armored warship were nothing but holographic projection. The raider split apart, clean edges where the black ship had passed through it. No explosion, no debris cloud, just a perfect bisection followed by systems failure. Evasive maneuvers. Drezek shouted, all pretense of confidence gone. All ships, fall back and regroup. But the black ship moved too quickly, changing direction with no apparent inertia. It passed through a second raider, then a third, each time leaving the Krell vessels neatly dissected and powerless. It wasn't attacking. It was harvesting. With each ship it penetrated, the black vessel seemed to grow slightly, its surface patterns shifting and evolving. Drezek frantically keyed emergency overrides. All remaining ships, emergency jump. Now, his own vessel's jump drives spun up, preparing to tear a hole in space-time for escape. But before the sequence completed, his bridge went dark. Emergency lighting kicked in, revealing a horrifying sight. The hull of his command deck was dissolving. The metal simply evaporated into microscopic particles, creating an expanding hole that opened to space. The last thing Drezek saw before explosive decompression claimed him was the black human ship hovering just beyond the breach. Not attacking, not moving, simply watching, studying, learning. 3 days later, the lone Krell escape pod drifted into a Tarjan outpost. The sole survivor inside babbled incoherently about a ship that moved like shadow and killed like silence. His final words before succumbing to his injuries were recorded and transmitted throughout Krell space. It's not just a weapon. It remembers us. Back on Earth, in the underwater facility, alarms had been blaring for 72 hours straight. Director Weiss stared at the tracking data with a mixture of awe and horror. It took out an entire Krell battle group, Elena said, her voice hollow. No survivors except one, and he died shortly after rescue. And it's still not responding to commands. Wei added. It's operating entirely on its own initiative. Dr. Singh approached with a tablet. We've analyzed the sensor readings from the Silent Thunder's logs. It automatically transmitted combat data back to us. The artifact at its core, it's growing, and the ship's structure is changing to accommodate it. Changing how? Elena asked. It's incorporating Krell technology. Not physically. It's more like it's absorbing the design principles, the fundamental concepts. It's learning from them, integrating their technological approaches into its own structure. Wei closed his eyes briefly. So it's evolving, becoming something new. Yes, Dr. Singh confirmed. And there's something else. We found a pattern in the signal it broadcast to the Krell before attacking. It's not random noise as we thought. It's a message encoded in a mathematical language that predates human civilization. We're still working on a full translation, but one phrase keeps recurring. What phrase? Elena asked, though part of her already knew the answer. I remember you, Dr. Singh said quietly, over and over again. I remember you. In the silence that followed, the facility's tracking system updated. Silent Thunder had changed course. It was now heading toward the largest Tarjan military outpost in the sector. The mockery was over. The hunt had begun. The hunt begins. Grand Admiral Xorl of the Tarjan hegemony prided himself on preparedness. When reports of the Krell defeat reached him, he didn't dismiss them as many of his peers did. While the Galactic Security Council debated whether a primitive human vessel could possibly destroy 7 advanced Krell raiders, Sorrel mobilized the 7th Defensive Fleet, 26 warships, including his flagship, the Unyielding Doctrine. Full sensor sweep, continuous rotation. He ordered his bridge crew. Whatever this human weapon is, it won't catch us unprepared. The Tarjan military outpost at Vega Proxima housed over 15,000 personnel and served as the enforcement hub for 3 sectors of space, including Earth's solar system. From here, Tarjan authorities regulated human expansion efforts, ensuring the young species remained appropriately contained. Admiral. His first officer approached, datapad in hand. The diplomatic corps is demanding explanations for our battle-ready status. The Galactic Assembly representatives are particularly concerned. Hordel's 4 eyes blinked asymmetrically, a Tarjan expression of dismissal. Tell them it's a scheduled readiness drill, nothing more. And the additional antimatter warheads we've deployed around the station perimeter. Enhanced security protocols, standard procedure. Sorrel turned back to the tactical display. Has there been any unusual activity in the sector? Nothing, Admiral. All shipping lanes report normal traffic patterns, no unidentified vessels. Sorrel nodded, but his unease remained. The Krell were brutal and direct, but they weren't fools. Something had destroyed their raiders, something that apparently left no debris, no radiation signature, nothing that conventional sensors could detect. Sir, a junior officer called from the sensor station. Gravitational anomaly detected at the outer marker buoys. Sorrel moved quickly to the station. Show me. The display indicated a localized distortion in space-time, as if something were bending reality itself. It wasn't a conventional jump-exit signature. Those created predictable patterns as ships tore back into normal space. This was something different. All ships, battle stations. Sorrel ordered. Weapons hot, barriers at maximum. The Tarjan defensive formation tightened, 26 vessels arranging themselves in a 3-dimensional lattice designed to provide overlapping fields of fire. If something was coming, it would face the full might of the hegemony's finest. Anomaly intensifying, sir, the sensor officer reported. Something's emerging. The distortion in space contracted suddenly, then expanded, revealing a black vessel unlike anything in Sorrel's considerable experience. Its design had changed since the assembly presentation. It was larger, its contours more angular, its surface now rippling with patterns that hurt the eyes if observed too long. That's not the same ship, Sorrel's first officer whispered. It can't be. Open a channel, Sorrel commanded. All frequencies. The communications officer complied. Channel open. Sir. Attention unidentified vessel. This is Grand Admiral Sorrel of the Tarjan hegemony. You have entered restricted military space. Power down your systems and prepare for boarding, or we will open fire. The response came not as words, but as a cascade of sounds, similar to what the Krell had reported, but more complex now, layered with harmonics that seemed to resonate with the station's very structure. Several officers clutched their audio receptors in pain. Cut transmission. Sorrel ordered. The sounds ceased, but the damage was done. Several crew members were bleeding from their auditory organs. Sir, the vessel is scanning us, the sensor officer reported, but not with any conventional method. It's emitting some kind of quantum field that's passing through our barriers as if they weren't there. Arnold had seen enough. All ships, open fire. Full barrage, continuous. Destroy that thing. 26 warships unleashed their arsenals simultaneously. Energy beams, kinetic projectiles, and exotic particle weapons converged on the black vessel in a display of firepower that could have cracked a small moon. The human ship didn't evade. It didn't raise shields. It simply absorbed. Every impact, every beam, every warhead vanished into its dark surface. And with each attack it consumed, the patterns on its hull grew more intricate, more defined. It's feeding on our attacks, the weapons officer realized in horror. We're making it stronger. Launch antimatter torpedoes. Sorrel ordered, his voice tight. Maximum yield. Sir, at this range, the blast will damage our own vessels. Do it. 5 torpedoes streaked toward the human ship, each carrying enough antimatter to vaporize a capital vessel. They detonated in sequence, creating a chain reaction that briefly outshone the system's star. When the blinding light faded and the sensors cleared, Sorrel expected to see nothing but scattered atoms where the enemy had been. Instead, the black ship remained, unchanged, undamaged. And now it began to move. It didn't accelerate gradually like a normal vessel. It simply changed position, appearing beside the nearest Tarjan warship. The warship's hull began to ripple, as if the metal itself had become liquid. Then it collapsed inward, the entire vessel compressing into a sphere no larger than a shuttle before vanishing completely. What in the 7 hells? Sorrel began, but before he could finish, another ship disappeared. Then another. All vessels, scatter, he commanded. Random jump coordinates. Now. The Tarjan fleet broke formation, ships desperately plotting escape vectors. But the black vessel moved too quickly, appearing beside each target in turn, erasing them from existence without visible weapons or conventional attacks. On the unyielding Doctrine's bridge, Sorrel watched his fleet vanish ship by ship. When only his flagship remained, he opened a secure channel to Tarjan High Command. This is Grand Admiral Sorrel. The human vessel has capabilities beyond our understanding. It cannot be damaged by conventional weapons. It appears to consume matter and energy alike. The 7th Fleet is lost. I recommend immediate. The transmission cut off as the bridge viewports darkened. The black ship had appeared directly in front of the flagship, so close that its surface details were clearly visible. The patterns on its hull were no longer random. They had organized into distinct glyphs that Sorrel recognized with dawning horror. They were ancient Tarjan war script, symbols not used for thousands of years. They spelled out a single phrase, over and over across the vessel's surface. The debt is remembered. The unyielding Doctrine began to shake, not from weapons fire, but from something more fundamental. Space-time itself warped around the flagship, stretching and compressing in impossible ways. Sorrel felt his body elongating, his cells pulling apart as reality itself unraveled around him. His last conscious thought was a question. What had humanity unleashed? At Earth's underwater command center, the atmosphere had shifted from concern to outright panic. Silent Thunder had just destroyed the most powerful Tarjan fleet in the sector, and had done so without responding to a single command from Earth. "We've created a monster," Alina said, watching the tactical display update as the Tarjan outpost itself began to collapse. "We have to stop it." Director Wei shook his head. "How?" "It ignores all shutdown codes. It's operating on its own agenda now." Dr. Singh approached, her face ashen. "I've completed more translations from the artifact's language matrix. It's not just a weapon, Director. It's a judgment system, created by a species that the texts call the Vanished Ones. They were systematically eliminated from the galaxy over 200,000 years ago." "Eliminated by whom?" Alina asked, though she already suspected the answer. "By a coalition of species that includes the evolutionary ancestors of today's major galactic powers. The Tarjans, the Krell, the Tsar Collective, all of them. The artifact was the Vanished One's final act, a seed of vengeance planted to grow when conditions were right." We stared at the tactical display, where Silent Thunder was methodically eradicating all traces of the Tarjan outpost. And we gave it a ship. We gave it mobility, sensors, access to our databases. We gave it exactly what it needed, Dr. Singh confirmed. A host civilization with the technological capacity to support it, but with grievances against the descendants of its creators' killers. "So what happens now?" Alina asked. Based on the patterns we're seeing, Dr. Singh said quietly, it's going to systematically eliminate what it perceives as threats to Earth, which conveniently align with the descendants of the species that destroyed its creators. The entire galactic assembly, Y whispered, one by one. There's more, Dr. Singh added. The artifact is sending signals, quantum encrypted transmissions we can barely detect, let alone decode, but they're emanating outward, toward the galactic core and beyond. It's calling for something, Elena realized, or to something. On the tracking display, Silent Thunder completed its destruction of the Tarjan outpost. Not a single life pod escaped. Not a single distress call was transmitted. One moment a bustling military installation housing thousands existed. The next, it was simply gone. And Silent Thunder, now visibly larger and more complex than when it had left Earth, changed course once again. Its new heading, the Tsar Collective Homeworld, seat of the Galactic Assembly itself. The hunt was escalating. Breaking point. The Galactic Assembly convened an emergency session for the first time in 700 years. Representatives from 36 spacefaring civilizations gathered in the vast chamber of consensus on Tsar Prime, their usual political differences temporarily set aside in the face of an unprecedented threat. High Counselor Xerix, his crystalline form reflecting the chamber's lights in fractured patterns, addressed the hushed gathering. 2 cycles ago, the Krell Marauder fleet was annihilated. 1 cycle ago, the Tarjan 7th Defensive Fleet and Vega Proxima outpost were erased from existence. In both cases, survivors reported a single black vessel of apparent human origin. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. On the elevated platform reserved for Earth's delegation, Ambassador Jonathan Chen stood alone. Earth's diplomatic staff had been recalled for consultation days earlier, a transparent evacuation that hadn't gone unnoticed. Ambassador Chen, Xerix continued, his tone sharp as fractured glass. Your government claims this vessel, this Silent Thunder, has gone rogue, that it no longer responds to human commands, yet it targets only species that have challenged Earth's expansion efforts. How convenient. Chen maintained his composure despite the hostile stares from all directions. Earth did not intend for this to happen. We are as concerned as the Assembly. Spare us your false concern, interrupted the Krell representative, his mandibles clicking furiously. You unleashed this weapon deliberately. This is an act of war against the established order. Earth is preparing defense protocols, Chen replied. We're working around the clock to develop countermeasures. Your countermeasures mean nothing now, Xerix said coldly. The combined fleet has been mobilized. All major powers have contributed vessels. We are sending 1,000 warships to your solar system. Chen paled. That's an extinction-level attack force. Indeed. Xerix's crystalline features hardened. Either you destroy this weapon you've created, or we will destroy its source, Earth itself. You have 3 standard cycles to comply. As the assembly erupted into shouts of approval, Chen's secure communicator vibrated. The message from Earth was brief. It's coming. Get out and know. On the far edge of the Tsar system, reality rippled. Silent Thunder emerged, but it no longer resembled a ship in any conventional sense. It had grown to nearly twice its original size, its hull now a complex lattice of impossibly thin black filaments forming fractal patterns that constantly shifted and evolved. It moved not through space, but through the underlying fabric of spacetime itself, leaving gravitational echoes in its wake. Inside the vessel, if inside still had meaning, the artifact pulsed with ancient purpose. It had progressed beyond its original programming, beyond the simple directive of vengeance. Earth's databases had given it context, history, understanding. The artifact had begun to think, and it remembered everything. It remembered the systematic extermination of its creators. It remembered eons of dormancy, buried in Earth's ice. It remembered awakening to human touch, human fear, human desperation. It remembered the laughter in the assembly hall when Earth presented its primitive warship. Now it would ensure the laughter stopped forever. Silent thunder accelerated toward Zar Prime, the seat of galactic power, and not coincidentally, the world where the final decision to eradicate the Vanished Ones had been made 200 millennia earlier. The debt would be collected. Justice would be served. But as it approached the massive orbital defenses surrounding Zar Prime, something unexpected happened. Another ship appeared, small, sleek, and unmistakably of human design. A diplomatic shuttle, broadcasting on all frequencies. Silent thunder, this is Ambassador Chen. I request communication. The artifact hesitated. This was not in its calculations. It had protected Earth's interests, eliminated threats. Why would a human intercept it? I know you can understand me, Chen continued. And I believe you can respond. Please, before more lives are lost. Silent thunder scanned the tiny vessel. One human life form. No weapons. No threat. It adjusted its communication systems to human parameters and replied, its voice a strange harmony of mechanical and organic tones. The debt must be paid. The cycle must end. On his shuttle's bridge, Chen felt a chill at the inhuman voice. What debt? What cycle? The systematic elimination of evolved sentience. Your kind calls it genocide. Mine experienced it. The debt is remembered. Chen took a deep breath. The beings who harmed your creators are long dead. These are different people, different civilizations. They don't even remember what happened. I remember. Silent thunder's voice grew deeper, resonating through the shuttle structure. Memory is justice. No, Chen countered. Memory without mercy is just vengeance. And vengeance without end destroys everything, including the Avenger. Silent thunder paused, processing. Earth has been wronged by these descendants. I protect Earth. Earth didn't ask for this protection. Chen said carefully. Not like this. The Assembly has authorized a 1,000-ship fleet to destroy Earth if you continue. You're not protecting us. You're condemning us. Another pause, longer this time. That is incorrect. My purpose is protection. Then protect us by stopping. Come home. Let us understand you, work with you. There are better ways to ensure Earth's safety than through destruction. The massive black vessel seemed to shimmer, its fractal patterns shifting more rapidly. The Vanished Ones had no choice. No mercy was shown. Then be better than those who destroyed them, Chen urged. Show what they could not. Restraint. Wisdom. The true strength that comes from choosing not to destroy when you have the power to do so. Silent thunder was silent for exactly 73 seconds. Then, Ambassador Chen of Earth, I will consider your words. But the combined fleet approaches. They intend Earth's destruction. This I cannot permit. Before Chen could respond, silent thunder vanished, leaving only gravitational ripples in its wake. Back on Earth, in the underwater facility, Director Wei received Chen's transmission with mixed emotions. It communicated. That's something. But it's still protecting Earth in its own way, Alina pointed out. And the combined fleet is already assembling at Jump Point Alpha. 1,000 ships, all with Earth's coordinates locked in. Dr. Singh looked up from her console. Director, I've detected quantum communications again, like before, but stronger. And they're being answered. Answered. By whom? We demanded. Unknown, but the signals are coming from multiple points beyond the galactic rim. Whatever silent thunder has been calling to, it's responding now. Wei's secure communicator chimed with an ultra-priority message from Earth Defense Command. His face went ashen as he read it. The combined fleet has jumped. Estimated arrival at Earth in 17 hours. Alina closed her eyes briefly. So this is how humanity ends. Not with a whimper, but with thunder. Wait, Dr. Singh interrupted, her eyes fixed on her display. Something's happening at the jump point where the combined fleet is supposed to exit. The main screen shifted to show a section of space near Neptune's orbit. Reality twisted and distorted as the massive fleet began to emerge from jump space, only to encounter something waiting for them. Silent Thunder had arrived first, but it was not alone. Surrounding it were 7 enormous structures that defied conventional description, not ships, but something more fundamental. They appeared as geometric impossibilities, 4-dimensional objects projected into 3-dimensional space, constantly shifting and reforming. Where they passed, space-time itself warped and flowed like liquid. "What are they?" Elena whispered. "I believe," Dr. Singh said quietly, "we're seeing the vanished ones, or what they became after their physical extinction." As the combined fleet completed its jump, emerging into normal space in attack formation, the geometric entities moved to surround them. No weapons fired. No energy beams lanced out. Instead, space itself began to fold around the fleet, creating a bubble of distorted reality. "They're not destroying the ships," we realized. "They're containing them." Inside that bubble, time slowed to a crawl. What would have been seconds stretched into years from the perspective of those outside. The mighty Armada that had come to destroy Earth was not being annihilated. It was being preserved in a moment, a lesson encased in amber for all to see. Silent Thunder drifted away from the time bubble, its structure changing once more. The fractal pattern simplified, stabilized. It was evolving again, but differently now, not for war, but for something else. It turned toward Earth and accelerated. "It's coming back," Elena said. "But why?" The breaking point had been reached, but it was not Earth that broke. Revelation. Silent Thunder hovered in Earth orbit, visible to the naked eye as a dark spot, occasionally eclipsing the sun. For 3 days, it had maintained position, silent and unmoving. Every attempt at communication had failed. Earth's governments vacillated between preparing for apocalypse and hoping for miracle. In the underwater facility, now expanded into a full international command center, Director Wee stared at the main screen with bloodshot eyes. 72 hours. No movement, no communication. The time bubble containing the combined fleet remained stable, Dr. Singh reported. As for the entities that created it, they disappeared again. Returned beyond the galactic rim, presumably. Elena studied the latest scans of Silent Thunder. Its structure has stabilized. No more evolution, no more changes. It's as if it's waiting. But for what? Wei wondered. As if in answer, the facility's quantum communications array, hastily installed after they discovered Silent Thunder's transmission method, activated spontaneously. A voice filled the command center. The same harmonic blend that had spoken to Ambassador Chen. "I require presence, not digital, physical." Wei exchanged glances with Elena. "Who do you want to speak with?" "The ones who awakened me. The ones who built my vessel. The ones who understand need." Wei took a deep breath. "That would be the 3 of us. Myself, Commander Reyes, and Dr. Singh." "Yes. Come to me." "How?" Elena asked. "You're in orbit. We don't have a ship that can reach you quickly. I will provide transport. Upper surface facility, 1 standard hour." The communication ended as abruptly as it had begun. Wei looked at his colleagues. "I don't think we have a choice." 1 hour later, the 3 stood on the helicopter pad atop the facility's surface building. The sky above was clear, blue, deceptively peaceful. None of them spoke. What was there to say when summoned by something that could potentially end human civilization? Without warning or sound, reality shifted around them. The blue sky vanished, replaced by an enclosed space unlike anything they had expected. They stood in what appeared to be a vast spherical chamber. But the walls, floor, and ceiling were indistinguishable, all composed of the same flowing black material that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect.